Rain hammered against the windows of the small diner as Daniel Brooks stared at the photograph on the table. A little boy, 6 years old, brown hair, a tiny scar above his left eyebrow, and a smile that somehow looked familiar. Across from Daniel sat Eleanor Whitmore, one of the richest women in the country. Her designer coat was soaked from the storm, but she didn't seem to notice. She had arrived alone. No assistant, no bodyguard, no chauffeur waiting outside. Just a frightened mother carrying 18 years of unanswered questions. "My son has been missing 18 years, she whispered. Daniel looked at the photograph again. "You said the police searched for him?" "For years. And they found nothing?" "Nothing." Daniel leaned back. "Then why me?" Eleanor reached into her handbag and placed another photograph on the table. This one showed a teenage boy. Daniel stared at it. He would be 24 now. Daniel looked at her. "You want me to find a 24-year-old man using an 18-year-old photograph? I want you to find my son." Daniel was a single father who worked as a private investigator on small cases. He wasn't famous. He didn't have a team. He didn't have expensive technology. He had a battered laptop, an old sedan with nearly 200,000 miles on it, and a reputation for finding people who didn't want to be found. Most of his cases involved missing pets, runaway teenagers, unpaid debts, and people trying to disappear from difficult relationships. He had never handled a case involving a billionaire, and he certainly had never expected one to walk into a diner and ask him to find her missing child. Daniel studied Eleanor. "You've hired professionals before." "Yes." "How many?" "7. And none found him." "They found leads." "That's not what I asked." Eleanor looked down. "No." Daniel noticed her hands. They were trembling. For someone worth billions, Eleanor looked less powerful than the exhausted mothers Daniel had met in police stations. "What happened to the others?" "One retired." "Why?" "He said the case was impossible." "And the others?" "They stopped returning my calls." Daniel frowned. "Why?" "I don't know." That answer bothered him. People didn't simply abandon a case involving one of the richest families in the country. Not unless someone wanted them to. Daniel looked at the photograph again. What was his name? Nathan. Full name: Nathaniel James Whitmore. Date of birth: June 14th. What year? 2002. Daniel wrote it down. Last confirmed location? Our home. Address. Eleanor gave it to him. Who was in the house that night? My husband. Me. Nathan. 2 housekeepers. A driver. 3 security guards. That's a lot of people. Yes. And nobody saw anything? No. Daniel frowned. That's impossible. I know. He leaned forward. Tell me exactly what happened. Eleanor took a breath. It was October 19th, 2008. Her voice became distant. Nathan had been sick earlier that week. Nothing serious. A fever. He was feeling better that evening, so I let him stay up later than usual. What happened next? My husband and I argued. About our divorce. Daniel waited. Eleanor continued. My husband wanted custody of Nathan. And you? I refused. Why? Because I knew him. What do you mean? Eleanor looked directly at Daniel. My husband was not a good man. Daniel didn't interrupt. He was charming in public. Everyone loved him. But behind closed doors. She stopped. Daniel understood. Was Nathan afraid of him? Sometimes. How do you know? I found bruises. Daniel's expression hardened. You reported it? Yes. What happened? My husband said Nathan fell. And the police believed him? There wasn't enough evidence. Daniel wrote something down. Continue. Eleanor swallowed. That night, Nathan was sleeping upstairs. Then, I went into his room around 11. And he was gone. Window locked. Door locked from the outside. Daniel looked up. Outside. Yes. Who had keys? My husband. Anyone else? The security staff. Did you suspect your husband? Immediately. What did he say? He said Nathan had been kidnapped. Daniel stared at her. And you believed him? No. Why? Because he knew things he shouldn't have known. What things? He said Nathan had probably been taken through the East Gate. Daniel's pen stopped. Why was that suspicious? The police hadn't told him about the East Gate. Daniel slowly looked up. Was the East Gate open? No. Security cameras? Destroyed. All of them. 3 cameras. Daniel leaned back. Convenient. Eleanor nodded. Very. What happened to your husband? He disappeared 2 days later. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Disappeared? Yes. Did police find him? No. So both your husband and your son vanished? Yes. Daniel stared at the photographs. Why didn't you think your husband took Nathan? I did. Then why did the investigation stop? Eleanor's eyes filled with tears. Because 6 months later, they found my husband's car at the bottom of a lake. Daniel stared at her. Was he inside? No. Was Nathan? No. Then why assume your husband was dead? They found his blood. Daniel frowned. Whose blood? His. Confirmed. Yes. Daniel sat back. So the official story became that your husband died and Nathan was kidnapped. Yes. And you spent 18 years searching. Yes. Daniel looked at the photograph. Why did you come to me? Eleanor hesitated. Because someone sent me your name. Who? I don't know. Daniel frowned. You don't know? I received a letter 3 weeks ago. She pulled an envelope from her handbag. Daniel opened it. Inside was a single sentence. Stop searching for Nathan. He doesn't want to be found. Daniel looked at Eleanor. Who sent this? No return address. Postmark. Local. When did you receive it? 3 weeks ago. Any other messages? Yes. Eleanor reached into the bag again. She produced a second letter. Daniel read it. His expression changed. You have been searching in the wrong places. Asked the father. Daniel looked at Eleanor. What does that mean? My husband is dead. According to the evidence. Yes. Daniel folded the letter. Did you ever find out what he was hiding? No. Did he have business enemies? Hundreds. Family enemies? Eleanor hesitated. My brother. Daniel looked up. Why? My brother hated my husband. Why? Money. Of course. Eleanor shook her head. It wasn't that simple. Daniel waited. My brother believed my husband stole something from our family. What? I don't know. Daniel leaned forward. What did he steal? Eleanor whispered. A company. Daniel raised an eyebrow. Your family owned another company? Before Sterling Whitmore became what it is today. She looked toward the rain-covered window. My father built a technology company. My husband became his business partner. Within 5 years, my husband controlled everything. And your brother blamed him? Yes. Did your brother have access to Nathan? Yes. Daniel's expression tightened. Where is he now? Dead. When? 14 years ago. How? Heart attack. Daniel stared at the table. Your husband disappeared 18 years ago. Yes. Your brother died 14 years ago. Yes. And Nathan vanished 18 years ago. Yes. Daniel slowly gathered the photographs. Give me 7 days. Eleanor looked up. You'll find it. Daniel shook his head. I'll find the truth. She nodded. Daniel stood. As he reached the door, Eleanor called after him. Mr. Brooks. He turned. If you find my son. She struggled to finish. Daniel waited. Please tell him I never stopped looking. Daniel's expression softened. I will. He stepped into the rain. By midnight, he was back in his small apartment. His son, Caleb, was asleep on the couch. Daniel's 12-year-old daughter? No. He corrected himself mentally. Caleb was 8, just like Nathan had been when Daniel first saw the photograph. Daniel pulled a blanket over his son's shoulders. Caleb stirred. Dad, go back to sleep. Were you working? Yes. Another missing person? Daniel smiled. Yeah. Are you going to find them? Daniel looked at the photograph in his hand. I don't know. Caleb opened his eyes. You always say that. Because it's true. You usually find them. Daniel smiled. Go to sleep. Caleb closed his eyes. Daniel walked into his tiny home office. He pinned Nathan's photograph to the wall. Under it, he wrote, Nathaniel Whitmore, age 6, missing 18 years. Then he added every known fact. October 19th, 2008. Locked bedroom. Destroyed cameras. Father disappeared. Car found in lake. Blood evidence. Unknown letters. Possible family connection. Daniel stared at the board. Something didn't fit. Then he noticed the photograph again. The little boy was smiling. But behind him was a bookshelf. Daniel zoomed in on the photograph. Books. A globe. A small wooden train. And something else. A reflection in a mirror. Daniel froze. He enlarged the image. There was a man standing in the hallway behind Nathan. Daniel stared. The face was blurred, but the clothing was clear. A dark security uniform. Daniel immediately searched the old security records. 3 guards had been on duty that night. 1 had died. 1 had moved overseas. The 3rd had vanished 6 months after Nathan disappeared. His name was Samuel Cole. Daniel searched the name. Nothing. Then he searched the man's old address. An abandoned property. He checked the county records. The property had been sold 17 years ago. To a church. Daniel stared at the screen. A church. He searched the church's records. There was one handwritten note from 2009. A young boy stayed here briefly. Daniel's heart started pounding. He called the church. No answer. He waited until morning. At 7 a.m., he drove there. The building was old and nearly empty. An elderly caretaker opened the door. "Can I help you?" Daniel showed him Nathan's photograph. The man's face changed. Daniel knew immediately. "You know him?" The caretaker stared at the picture. "I knew a boy who looked like that. When 17 years ago." Daniel's pulse jumped. "What was his name?" The old man hesitated. "He wasn't called Nathan." "What was he called?" "Ethan." Daniel felt the entire case shift beneath him. Where did Ethan go? The caretaker looked toward the road. "He left with a man." "Who?" "I don't know." "Can you remember anything?" The caretaker closed his eyes. "He had a scar. Above his eyebrow." "Yes." Daniel took a slow breath. "Which eyebrow?" The caretaker pointed. "Left." Daniel looked again at the photograph. Same scar. Same boy. Same face. 18 years of searching had suddenly narrowed into one possibility. Nathan Whitmore might still be alive. And Daniel had just found the first person who remembered him. But when the caretaker finally told him where the boy had gone, Daniel realized the case was far more dangerous than he had imagined. Because the man who took Nathan hadn't disappeared. He had been watching the Whitmore family for 18 years.